All right, golfers, going forward, I'm going to start doing a weekly Q&A where I pick three of my favorite questions that I got asked during the week, and I'll answer them on all my socials for you guys. Okay, so first question is, what is your best tip or advice for improving rotation and minimizing the slide on the downswing? Now, in my opinion, too many people focus on the obvious aesthetics in this component of shifting really laterally and not really having a lot of rotation. But really, the best tip I can give you guys is start focusing on the tilting component. This is the best way by far to improve your rotation. So what is the tilting component? The tilting component basically means when you get to the top of the backswing, you have these inclinations towards the ground. Your front shoulder is lower than the back shoulder, which is higher. The same goes for the lower body, so the pelvis. When you see golfers who rotate really well, the one thing that stands out in most of those cases is the fact that the lead side stays down for a lengthy part of your transition. So what does that mean? It means when you get to the top of the backswing, front shoulder doesn't just elevate right away, front hip doesn't just elevate right away. Because in many cases, if those pieces go up too fast, the trail side is going to drop and you're going to hang back. And a lot of times it's obviously accompanied with a slide. In fact, if the hip slides first too aggressively, it'll usually go up really quick and it just creates the same domino effect that takes place. So if you want to start improving your rotation through the golf ball, I would argue you're much more likely to improve it if you focus on keeping the front side down, lead hip down. You'll notice it becomes increasingly more difficult to also slide towards the target when you do it, and you'll start to improve your rotation. Number two, what is the best tip for not chunking chip shots? So for me, if I'm dealing with recreational golfers, my main priority in a situation like this is trying to reduce the amount of leading edge usage that you have. You know, a lot of times I see golfers chipping around the greens, especially recreationals. They have the ball position way back in their stance. They have the hands way forward. You're effectively removing all the bounce from the club in your setup position when you do this. You are making it very likely that that leading edge is just going to stab like a knife straight into the ground, or you're going to come up to try to avoid that, and then you end up blading it. You know, our goal around the greens is to effectively try to reduce as much ball speed as possible, right? We want to be able to swing with some element of acceleration or coasting through the ball, but without the ball just taking off super hot. When you deliver too much shaft lean and too much leading edge, it ends up becoming a problem. So try to reduce that as much as possible. You know, stand a little bit taller, weaken the grip a little bit, raise the handle up in your setup so that the heel is a little bit off the floor. Anything that can minimize that turf interaction usually will go a long way to helping you chip around the greens. And then lastly, what are some thoughts and feels for hitting flighted wedge shots? So for me, the number one priority here is we need to reduce the amount of loft you deliver at impact. So how do we do that? Well, we can get the club face in a stronger position. This will really help you to be able to obviously create some shaft lean, right? And be able to get the ball coming out a little bit lower. A lot of times I see golfers trying to deliver shaft lean and trying to flight the ball, but their club face is so open, it's just going to deliver too much loft. The ball is going to go too high with too much spin. So getting the club face in a stronger position is goal number one. Then number two, try to reduce the amount of hand usage you have at impact. Obviously, if we release the hands too much, we end up delivering too much loft. So in order to keep the hands more forward, let's limit the use of the hands. Let's actually increase the usage of the body, right? Let's pivot through the ball with a lot of rotation. Let's try to focus on keeping the hands low. You combine those feels with getting the club face in a stronger position, you'll start to really see that ball come out at a much lower trajectory than you're used to.